Hi, my name is Abigail B. Welcome back to my video. You are very welcome. If you are new here, where have you been? Because yeah, we've been having fun here. We've been learning. We are really going through this journey to elevate. If you're a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I really do appreciate it. But please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video to others, because I want to build a community here. You know, that is my goal for 2026. But yeah, today we are talking about decor trends, and not just the trends. We're talking about how you can add this to your home to really add some elevation and make your home look expensive. Now, there are pros and cons of trends because, as we know, it comes and goes. But I feel like with this one, there are some timeless factors to it. And if you are about to start a renovation, or you're in it and you're trying to consider what direction to go, this will really help you. If your home is already established and you're happy with what it is, that's fine. You can keep listening. And this is also for the people that perhaps 2026 is a time where they're like, you know what, I just fancy a little change. How do I bring that in? How do I bring current? What's out there? This is also for you. Now, I know I'm a little bit late to the party. Lateness is my weak spot, and you know, it's okay. But for me, also lateness means that there's time for deliberation and a lot of preparing. I have been watching these videos out there, yeah, I've been watching you. And I've been doing my research, I've been reading, and from the experts and from the trades and, you know, all of that out there, I've come to these 10 conclusions as to the 10 most popular trends that I think this year are really great, by the way, that we can introduce into our homes. Yeah, so let's get straight into it. Now, the first one is warm, earthy tones. And it's funny because the tone color of the year is white. And I was just like, when I did hear that, I was a little bit confused because I was like, okay, are we not bothered now? Or just, you know, but you must also comprehend that white has many variations. You know, we can go from various different undertones, grey undertones, warm undertones, cold undertones. And I always encourage warm white is definitely the one. So I guess where they're going with this is that minimalism is back, but with warmth, 100%. And when we're talking about the warm earthy tones, we are also bringing in brightness, but doing it with intention. So textured walls, lime wash is still there. Things that look very natural. Things that look very rugged, and I'll come into that a bit later on. But yeah, I think it's the purity to it. But there is some contradiction in this, and I'm going to come to it at the end. But apparently it's a trend. I also think that people more gearing into more of the pastel colours, adding elements of that and mixing it with darker moody tones as well. Although that balance does sound quite weird to the mind, but it also is very tasteful, and I'll show some pictures. It's cleverly done, but I feel like you have to be quite brave and quite perhaps eccentric and artistic to be able to appreciate and have this in your home, because it's not an easy mix, but I see it and I like it. The next is biophilic design. And it's not about having the plants in your home like the boho style. This is inviting the outside in, about connecting with the outside, not just bringing it into your home. So people are being more intentional with having large windows, floor to ceiling windows, you know, opening up your space, skylights, but not the little box skylights. We're going huge and large with it. You know, we're really bringing that outdoor into the space, and we're connecting with it, so we're part of it. And I think it's such a nice feature. If you are doing a renovation, definitely consider it, because it's timeless. I think it's definitely timeless. This type of style was very popular in the 70s, and it's coming back, and yeah, I'm all for it. And the next one is soft curves. This was quite prominent last year. You know, a lot of curved furniture pieces, circular architectural decor items, the arches. Although I do feel like the arches perhaps is dying down slightly, but we are being a little bit more experimental and opening up with it and bringing more awkward forms and shapes. So it allows it to look very quite architectural and very connecting. We're not just going with just curves and, you know, round shaping materials, because to the eye and over time it's slightly boring, but we're bringing it all together and we're bringing that fluidity in the shape and form of furniture pieces. And I think it's really, really nice because you know me, I'm very into like artistry and architecture, so I get it. For the everyday people, how would you bring this in? So you can see the mirror behind me, it has the curves. That could be a way of doing that. Perhaps even your bed, the bed frame could have curves in it as well. And it doesn't have to be a kind of continual pattern curves. It can be one that probably is a little bit more asymmetrical, a little bit off-centered. The more awkward it is, the more beautiful it is as well. So it's just not going by the base factory formatted square, which, you know, obviously is square, but just bringing in something that looks very different visually to the eye with its shape and form. So on for the curves, we are here for it. Another one, I have to look at my notes for this because I can't even pronounce it. Mid-minimalism. I don't know if it's by my dyslexia, but yeah, mid-minimalism, I'll just write it there, meaning minimalism. But the thing with this is it's a midpoint for it. So it's not like completely, it's not like having your rooms completely empty. It's a beautiful, curated decor. It's not just about having the room empty. It's the intentional curatedness of it. It's bringing in like nostalgic pieces, vintage pieces, just little points in the room, but toning it down quite a lot. Got rid of the minimalism completely. Sorry. Minimalism, but we got rid of it completely last year. We're bringing it back, but we're like, you know, we still need to add a bit of character to it. We still need to make it look fun and lived in. And that is the most important point. So yeah, declutter, get rid, but keep those key pieces that resonates with luxury, that resonates with timeless, that resonates with expense. And those are things that can be found in vintage pieces or things that are quite different, things that are unique and not mass produced. Just bringing that and bringing color to it as well, just a spot of color in there. I think it's beautiful. I do like this, I really do. And doing so really does bring elevation and luxury to it rather than it be completely minimal, because I feel that also resonates with it being looking a bit unfinished, and tying in from that it could look cheap because it just shows that, you know, the affordability is not there. But yeah, you can do it very simple, but just bring in those tiny little notches just to elevate the space. This year, a lot more authentic, natural pieces. So there were a lot of synthetic styles that resonated with natural pieces to give it that look, like rattan, and various materials such as that. But we're gearing away from that and we're actually bringing in the real thing. And you know what? These materials are not even that expensive, to be honest. Obviously, there are different grades to them, which you can consider, but you can go for a low grade and still have that beautiful natural touch that brings expense as well. I'm talking about marble. There's also beautiful types of stone like travertine, there's calcutta, there's so many, there's viola. And even if you have like small pieces of it, whether it be something like a tray or having a top of your furniture piece with this material, it just brings that naturalism to it as well. And it just looks really authentic and it really does help to elevate. Even with wood, bringing in wood, the darker the wood means that it's been treated and a lot of time and craftsmanship has gone into it, which makes it look expensive. The lighter the wood, it looks untouched. And that goes more of the kind of Scandinavian style, which I would say perhaps is not so prominent, definitely this year, but it also doesn't give that elevated touch to it. It doesn't give opulence. The darker it is, the more opulent. That makes sense. The darker it is, the more richer it looks. It's all about material honesty and warmth, and that is a key element for 2026. Authenticity. Stick on that. And that was another trend, which is called Grandma Co. And when I heard this, I was just like, okay, we're losing the plot now. Basically, it's like very, very, very vintage, old grandma-like style. I don't know if it's insultive or not, but yeah, it's very like flowery, very a lot of intricate designs and patterns and mix matching. And Kylie Jenner, she's quite popular. She did it. And I think maybe because she did it, following from that, people are picking onto it and like, oh, I like the way she's done it. And she has done it with elegance and a lot of and she's done it quite luxuriously as well. So yeah, if that's your style, I think it resonates a little bit with like country design. So yeah, if that is kind of your thing, this will definitely tie in with that and work, but it's a different vantage point of it. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. We're also doing a lot of expressive floors. We're moving away from the boring kind of like laminated floor, and I'm looking at my floor right now because I'm saying these things, but yeah, my floor is very boring. It's grey as well, can you believe it? But the amount of work it's going to take to uplift this and do it all over again is a big no. It's not worth the investment, especially by God's grace, we'll be moving. So yeah, when I move to the next house, definitely going to be intentional about the flooring. And I'm not going to have the same floor in every single room. That's another thing to consider. And this is why I said in the beginning that if you've got something that's already situated and you're happy with it and it works, you don't have to change it. But if we want to add this type of design, we can probably do it with our rugs or a smaller space like our bathroom or our kitchen. But yeah, it's a very intricate design that we're going with here. The tradesmen are going to hate us for this because obviously it's a lot of labor in doing it, and it will be expensive, and it is expensive, and that's why it gives that luxury look. But maybe consider it. I know I have a friend that she's going to do this just in a small patch of the room, and I think that's very clever. And there's another way of kind of bringing that without doing too much of it as well, because it can look quite busy. But yeah, I like it. It's giving very like, you know, rich Italian kind of Parisian style as well. So yeah, love that. Statement lighting. And we are being more considerate with the statement lighting because we are going very big, but we're not doing the bright chandelier style. Even if we are bringing it with artistry in there. So it looks very awkward. It looks like a piece of art rather than light. And doing that these days means that the bigger we go, obviously, the better. But it means that the focus is on the central light, but we can also bring in other lighting as well. It's not our main source of lighting, and it's emphasizing on that. Because if you bring in ambient light as in your central light, you obviously have to light up other corners of your room. So you'll have your scones, you'll have your table lights, you'll have your lamps. And that's another way of introducing it. But allowing that to be a feature of artistry is so much fun. It's so important. So yeah, I have a few brands that are doing this really well and I love, and I will put them in the description. It just looks so different. It just looks so curated. I keep using that word because it is. And it would really allow the room to look very expensive. You know, you walk in and you're seeing that like, oh, about illuminating the room. It's about lighting with style. So yeah, remember that. Another one now is about mixed materials. Especially we're talking about bathrooms here. So people are not just having the same type of tile throughout the whole space. We are mixing it. You know, we're having viola marble on the floor and perhaps vertical tiles inside the closure of our shower. And then perhaps even having, do you know what I mean? The mixing of it is definitely a key feature, and people are doing it more in 2026. And I do get it. In fact, sometimes it does make the space, if you've got a small space, it makes it look bigger because your eye is giving you various directions. You have to do it quite smartly, and perhaps maybe getting into a designer to support with that so that it doesn't look a complete explosion of mess, because the level and coordination of it has to work. So I wouldn't advise having like green vertical tiles and then having terracotta tiling or lime wash on one side. It just, I don't know, each to their own, but yeah, the balance needs to be right. But yeah, people are definitely mixing it, and I love that. I do. I think it's nice. I've shown some pictures, and we're going to see a lot more of this in 2026, and it is definitely something worth doing if you really want to elevate your space. I have spoken a lot on that point. I hope all of these trends were useful to you. I hope there might be some you're like, I might try that actually. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you thought and which one was your favorite. And yeah, I will see you in another video because I've spoken too much right now. I need to shh. Remember, luxury doesn't shout. Shh. That's another thing. But yeah, I've spoken too much right now, so I'm going to end here, and I will see you in another video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.